31 years ago, on the last day of Shiva for my husband Jerry, a young man showed up at the door. His name was Dov, and he was an Orthodox rabbi who'd been on one of Jerry's commissions at the Council of Jewish Life. I'd heard of him, but I didn't know him except for a weekly column in the Jewish Bulletin. Everyone had already left. We'd been on our Shiva walk. I asked him in, not certain what we'd talk about, and assuming this would be a short visit. He sat down at the kitchen table and left about 2 hours later. Well, during that time, he talked about Jerry, but as importantly, he shared some of his own story, including losing his own father at a young age. After a while, my older daughter came in with the mail. "Oh," she said, dismayed, "it's time to order the Lulav and Etrog. Dad always did that. What are we going to do?" And Dov smiled broadly. "I knew you had an enormous support system caring for you, and I decided that if I sat here long enough, I'd find something that you needed that I could take care of." And he did. And he has for 30 years now, including 2 years when he was living out of state, when a member of his former congregation delivered them. It's a story that for 30 years, my children repeat. As I thought about writing about Hesed and its meaning to me and my experiences with it, I thought of the many instances in my life when there were acts of loving kindness, sometimes offered by friends and loved ones, but also offered by strangers. Completely unexpected moments when someone, because of their own sense of empathy, compassion, generosity, and grace, came forward to help. Not because of what they'd get back, but because it was the morally and spiritually right thing to do. There have been several big moments like this in my life. The stranger in the car behind us when my late husband was shot, staying with me and comforting me at the scene, at the hospital, and now 30 years later, a dear friend to me and my family. The man, now my husband, who showed up at the ER where I'd spent the night with my daughter on what should have been our first date, holding a bag of lox and bagels and asking what kind of coffee I wanted. Moments that were, in retrospect, mirrors into the character of these people, so dear to me, and promises of what was to come. There have been too many moments to count where the grace and love of the community surrounds us during times of loss and illness. Selfless giving, because that's what friends and loving family do, and our ability to participate in those moments when our friends and loved ones are in pain, not because we have to, not because we consciously want to, but because we're morally and spiritually driven to do so. My mother described her experience of the Shiva for my late husband as the community wrapping us in a giant talit of love. That is Hesed. There are people I have the honor of working with, nurses, chaplains, social workers at a local hospice, who don't have jobs but callings, who've chosen to enter a world of loss in order to help make that journey easier for others. There are members of our multiple myeloma support group who embrace new participants as family because even without knowing them, they know what needs to be done. They know what that embrace means, and they know the essence of support is just being present. There are small moments, so fleeting, but they still take my breath away. My then 2-year-old granddaughter telling my daughter, who has disabilities and didn't think she should go on the trampoline, "Don't worry, Ema, hold my hand and you'll be okay." My then 7-year-old grandson asking my daughter if the homeless people he saw under the bridge would ever have homes, and to her answer, "We hope so." His response, "But what if they're too old and they die before they can enjoy them?" Simple grace from young children, understanding that there are needs in the world that are beyond them, but that they can care, and caring is its own grace. Every year, my girls, now mothers themselves, ask if Dov has come yet. Sukkot spiritually starts when he walks through our door with this year's Lulav and Etrog. The Lulav and the Etrog have become symbols of caring, kindness, grace, and friendship, and a reminder that simple acts of loving kindness have reverberations throughout the years and throughout the generations. Shana Tova.